Welcome back to Podcast Recovery, everyone. We're your hosts, David O.
And Eric D.
And with us today, again, our good friend, Donnie. How are you doing?
Not so bad. And you?
Not so bad.
I mean, good and you.
Yeah.
Can I just say something real quick?
Yeah.
Just in case people don't know. Andrew Jackson was a terrible president. And I just want to put this public service announcement out there. He shouldn't be on the $20 bill. And he's
This
the
is so
equivalent
off the rails
of
immediately.
Hitler.
Oh.
It's a bit
true.
strong.
True.
It's a bit strong.
He created the Indian Removal Act.
I agree. But
Okay. It's called the Indian Removal Act.
I understand that. That's
Sorry.
still a strong statement.
It gets me so angry.
I
It
agree.
just gets me mad.
I agree.
Removing
How do we
from
have
us.
such a great American like
Negative thoughts.
Harriet Tubman needs to... Yeah, exactly. That's a perfect segue. Negative thoughts.
Negative thoughts.
Harriet Tubman should be on
Should be
the
on the $20 bill.
$20 bill.
Put Benjamin Banneker, man.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
Put Henry
astronomer.
Wallace on there.
Yeah, put Henry Wallace on there. Put a lot of people on there. Fuck, I don't care. Put Lady
George
Gaga.
Washington
Put Lady
Carver.
Gaga on there. I don't give a shit. She's better than Andrew
Put,
Jackson.
You know what?
Put George Washington
Put
Carver
Taylor
on there.
Swift
Hell
on
yeah.
there.
Nah.
No, absolutely not.
Put
And
Taylor.
with that horrible thought
Put
and
Taylor.
notion. So today's topic is going to be negative thinking. I think negative thinking is one of the core issues that got us to use drugs. Clearly it was like maybe not necessarily negative thinking, but at least very skewed thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And it's far it's a very common thread. We've heard it all a million times that we all felt different from a young age and we didn't feel a part of. And whether that's actual or perceived, some of them are actual, some of them are very real. Some of mine were very real. Like, I was not the rich family in Colombia, and there was a lot of rich families around me. So, you know, Jesus. I mean,
I'm saying it from
I've been
from
waiting
all of us.
10 years
From all of us, right?
From all the riches.
From all of us. We're
From all the
sorry.
riches. We're sorry you were raised a poor. Thank you.
I mean, that was only slightly a step up from you, though.
Yeah,
But I grew up in Southern
and-
Maryland where
Yes.
there wasn't that.
Well, what do
we
you
didn't-
do down there? You got like a Panera, right?
Yeah, but you're all poors down there, so it's totally different.
Not anymore.
Not anymore, but back in the 90s.
Well, now
you-
it's all
you know,
rich people down
it's
there,
all
Yeah,
right?
government
now
contractors.
it's all riches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, in reality, yeah, I was slightly different than
Well,
everybody
you
around
also have
me.
your Christmas story, which is really depressing.
My Christmas story was very
Your
sad.
Christmas story is like one of the saddest child Christmas stories I've ever heard. And it's just like,
very
oh,
sad. And
little
yeah,
David,
yeah,
come
and-
here, buddy.
I mean, that was a traumatic experience for year after year for a long time. So yeah, that was tremendously negative, and trauma has a huge part with.
Well, and also
And
God, dude, you have so many
middle
kids
school.
stuff. that's
Middle
bad.
school is fucking traumatic.
Middle school was terrible for me.
It's traumatic, and
I was
like
kinda mean in
it is
middle
the
school.
beginning.
That's where it all started for me.
100%.
honestly.
So mine started. I wish I could remember this fucking teacher's name, but she fucked me so bad in 6th grade math class. It was the first time she was like, "Oh, I'm actually going to grade your homework." So it's like, what? Like, you could do your homework and you could.
But they do grade your homework. Right?
No. Like, if you do your homework, you get like a check mark.
Oh, well, no, they grade it. Didn't they grade homework?
Not in elementary school, and then I get into middle school, and I did my homework to the best of my ability. Math is not my strong suit anyway, and I would get like a 20% on my homework, and it's like, well, what the fuck? Like, and so that was
You got it wrong.
Yeah, and like, dude, I was like screaming for help, and like my parents were fucking neglectful as shit, and teachers were just like, well, you're just gonna have to study harder, and I just fell through the cracks with it and started getting bad grades for the first time in my life, and I was like, well, if the adults aren't gonna care, then fuck this.
You're an English person.
I'm very much an
And
English
a
person
history
and history
person.
person. History, I was getting straight A's.
Yeah,
So
you're,
studies, straight
Your
A's.
qualitative stuff.
But yeah, that negative thinking of the very first one is like, I'm not smart enough, like, for this. I'm not good enough. And that was something my dad always reinforced in me anyway.
Yeah,
'cause
same.
He was a total piece of shit.
I think that's also like our parents' culture too. Is like not building up, but kind of just like it was always like, oh, you're not
Oh,
good
it's
enough.
tough love. And it's like, no, it's that's
so I had
okay.
the opposite experience. My parents were nothing but supportive.
No,
of me.
yeah.
That's weird.
And
that makes sense.
Yeah.
What's that like?
I mean, yeah, they were nothing but supportive.
Wait,
They
did
never
your dad
had-
hug you? Like, what?
Wait,
What the
your dad
fuck?
didn't hit you?
Yeah,
Like,
what?
what do you mean?
No, of course not.
Oh my god.
That's
No, that
weird.
was not
What's
my
that
experience. But and here we all are, though.
Yeah, yeah. Here we
Different-
all are. We did
different
drugs
backgrounds.
about it.
Different
So,
drugs about it. Yeah.
Middle school, like you said, is where it all started for me because, and I can go even farther back than that because when I was in second grade, I was new at the school. We had just moved down to St. Mary's County. It was
Wait,
new in
you
school.
didn't live down there the whole time?
No, I was born. Well, quick story. I was born in North Carolina. My dad was still in the Coast Guard.
I didn't know that.
So then he moved to Middle River.
Aren't you a North Carolina human too?
No, I was
Oh.
born in Columbia, Maryland.
Okay.
So we moved to Middle River, Maryland.
Okay.
Um,
They have a
Bully's Quarters,
know.
more specifically.
they have a
Benji's
Benji's
Drive-In.
drive-in. Just a side.
their claim
If
to
you want to
fame.
go to a drive-in, they have a drive-in.
Largest
theaters.
drive-in screen in the country.
Yep.
Anyway, then my dad retired from the Coast Guard. Then we moved to St. Mary's County in 1994.
Oh.
So anyway, I was in second grade. I didn't know anyone. I went up to, they were playing kickball at recess. And I went up to the kid and was like, hey, can I play with you guys? And
No.
he said no. He was like, no. I'm like, oh, all right. I'll just
fuck off then,
yeah,
right?
that's
Okay,
good.
fuck me,
I'll
right?
go fuck myself.
Yep.
But in sixth grade is when my parents got split. They split up. I was 10 years old. And that's when I started feeling a little different.
Oh, that was an old hat in my family by that time.
Yeah.
My dad had already left twice by then.
Well, yeah.
Well,
That family
Yeah.
drama, I did not want to talk about it
Yep.
with anybody. You know, and in fact, I didn't talk about that at all for 8 years.
Yeah.
Like, I did not talk about it with anybody because, I don't know, it made me feel
I'm just gonna
different.
stuff that down with
Yeah.
bong hits.
And that was, like, I didn't even really start using until later on, but I just stuffed that shit, you know? But I became, I don't know, so for whatever reason, people started picking on me, especially in seventh grade.
well,
you
it's
know?
middle school.
Can I say something controversial? And I don't want you to take this the wrong
I'm an
way.
easy target?
Yeah, it's verbatim what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I was like,
Well-
you're an easy target, Donnie.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Because just looking at you, I'm like, you're not going to fight back.
Well, it's
I'm like,
also
I can come at you and you're not going to do
Also,
a
you
fucking
can
thing
make
about
fun
it.
maybe when
of,
I'm
like,
10. Maybe when I'm 10.
When you're 10,
stuff,
yes,
yeah.
exactly.
So in seventh grade specifically, I don't know how this started, but like somebody started. There was just
Did you have a bad nickname?
kind of They somehow got into their people's minds that like I lived in a dumpster,
That's terrible.
and people would call me like Dumpster Donnie.
Dumpster Donnie?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And this was like
Yo,
throughout
Dumpster
my-
Donnie, what's up, man?
people, and I hated that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, my
Yeah.
God, even a teacher would get in on it
you were-
sometimes.
What?
Yeah, and so I was
You were
like,
fucking stuttering
you were,
Stanley.
You were a loser.
Yeah.
Then.
I guess you could say it.
I'm
I don't want to say
sorry.
it was a loser,
I don't mean to
but
be mean.
Yeah.
But
I
a
was
teacher
picked on.
called you Dumpster Donnie?
God
What
damn
did you do to that teacher?
Wait, did you have any
took it.
nicknames?
Not like Dumpster Donnie.
Mine
but-
was the most, dude. I have heard this.
I had like nicknames like once I got to high school, like later high school. So those were nicknames of like affection. Like I had
Yeah.
Mud. I had some ridiculous Coke nicknames. Eric Von Yayo.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
That's pretty good.
Eric Von Yayo. So dude, the stupidest like bastardization of my name. They're like Ostrander, and my
Yeah,
last
I know,
name's
dude,
Ostrander. They're
yeah.
like, that sounds like ostrich, and I'm like, no, it doesn't.
can't-
So I got called David
David.
Ostrich forever, and I
You
was like, that
can't
is
make
the
fun of
dumbest-
our names.
No.
They're too long.
They're too
and
long,
they're German.
and they don't rhyme with shit.
And, like-
Mine's Dutch, so
Well, whatever,
Same
you
thing.
know, like it's the same fucking thing. But you can't. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
it's like Wazakowski. Like it's like,
yeah. What am I supposed
what
to
am I
say
gonna
to that?
do?
What am I going to say? to
Yeah,
that?
you know.
But then in high school, it got worse, and
What?
Yeah.
How? So
no,
that's
these kids
the
actually
opposite experience with me. Like
No.
high school, everyone got along.
No. I just mean the moniker. So in like elementary and middle school, it was.
So you were an
it was-
ostrich?
It was ostrich, and I'm like, that is the dumbest.
Wait, they stuck with it?
Yeah,
What the
Yeah.
fuck's wrong with them?
dude, it was so dumb. And I was like, it doesn't even sound at all
that's not
alike.
even
I was like, that's
funny.
not even funny at all. It's like,
It's
but then
kids being stupid.
it was kids being stupid. But then, like in football practice in high school, like we're running drills, and they're like, "Man, they should call you slow strander." And I was like, "Oh,
that's it.
That's good."
That's
and then
slow
somebody was like,
strander.
"More like no strander," and I was like, "Damn!" And then they're like, "Yeah, more like blow strander," and I'm like, "No!" And then I was like, "Okay, there it is.
There it
All right,
is.
there it is. There's the hit."
Anyway.
Slow
Like, I'm a piece
strander.
of shit.
So
So you're dumpster Donnie.
being
Dumpster
teased
Donnie.
and being
Why
a target.
Yeah.
You know,
Were you dirty? Were you
No,
like
no, fine.
I
who's
was
the
dirty.
character from the Peanuts?
I was the stinky
Pigpen?
Pigpen.
Pigpen.
No, I
was
wasn't.
thinking-
I was
I was
just
Pigpen.
I was just trying to live my life,
100% I was
man.
Pigpen.
I was just trying to find my way, you know, and
Dumpster
this is
Donnie.
what I became. So I had a lot of just negativity directed towards myself.
Insecurities.
And and that's I just rolled with it.
Yeah.
It's just really like, okay, this is how it is for me. Mm-hmm. You know, this is going to be my life, and that's kind of and
Yeah.
it just kind of progressed from there. Like, no one likes you. You're not going to
Yeah.
get the girl. You're not going to do this. You can't.
And-
whatever it is, you can't.
Yep. And like the generation we got brought up by, our parents
They're assholes.
had. It's not that they're assholes. They did
They're
the best they
selfish.
could, whatever. But they have
They're
no.
selfish.
Their emotional intelligence is very
so
low,
bad.
very low. But you have to. I mean, extrapolate it further. Look at who they were raised by.
That's
They were
true.
raised by the greatest generation, quote unquote,
worst generation.
hard quotes there. The but that
not attentive, like.
but that generation, you
Latchkey
always have to
kids.
keep looking back. Like those people were dead from the fucking
war.
the heart up. Like my grandfather, like he was never gonna tell my dad, "Oh, I love you. I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
Good job." Like, "Oh, let's talk about your feelings." That shit never happened to our parents. So they were just. They did not break the chain in any way, shape, or form. They just perpetuated it down the line to
We're
us.
breaking the chain.
We're trying.
Yeah.
I'm working
So-
on it. We have the future. We have the future of our nation in our hands.
So I will say again, I did not have that experience with my parents.
Yeah.
I just didn't
Yeah.
talk about it with them because I felt embarrassed
Yeah,
to talk
and-
about. Hey,
Well,
I'm
and your
getting
parents-
teased at school.
But your parents also split when you're in 6th grade. So which parent do you talk to about it?
Right, that too. Yeah, I feel like
Like-
they had enough going on.
And like what kids are you talking to about? Because I had the similar experience. My dad left a couple times before middle school, and then he would come
Absolutely
back and
wild.
like, dude, I watched my dad punch my mom in the face. Like it was fucked up shit.
yeah,
So
it's
like,
hard to talk about that.
yeah, and
Well, didn't your dad
no-
like go to a hippie commune for like a while?
That was
or
when
something?
that was like the third time he left when I was in high school. He stole $60,000 and pissed off to a
fucking
fucking
wild, dude.
hippie commune and blew it all in a year, half a year, 9 months, whatever.
let's just have some bagels, man.
Yeah,
and, like,
total sack of shit. Torpedoed our fucking family. Anyway, so no, I had that same feeling where everybody else has the nuclear family,
Yeah.
wife, mom, dad, blah blah blah, two and a half kids and a white picket fence and a cat. I didn't have that, so yeah, I was automatically different.
You wanted it too, really bad.
And then I saw The Breakfast Club, and I was like, I want to be you, John Bender. I was
Yeah.
like, I assume, but that's where like
You have a softer heart than John Bender.
I do.
You just had to break his shell.
But like things started occurring to me that like I was gravitating to more negative things. Like I was listening to
Slipknot.
I was listening to Slipknot and Korn and shit in the
Korn, dude. We were all listening to Korn.
Falling
Okay,
Away From
all
Me.
of us were listening to Korn.
But like
I wanted that one guy's hair so bad. The,
What,
like
Fieldy?
the
Oh,
one who
yeah.
had all the
Head.
different braids.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
I wanted it
the twists,
so bad.
the twists.
That
were
was Head,
so
wasn't
cool.
it?
That was Head. It was so cool.
bad.
It was so cool.
I was like, that's the coolest hair ever.
But I mean, like when you really look at it, like why is a 9-10-year-old kid feeling that they can identify on an emotional level with "Falling Away From Me"
Yeah.
by Korn, which is a song about literal being beaten as a
Yeah.
child.
Oh,
Like
is
and
it?
yes,
Yeah.
that video,
Yeah,
hell
that's hard
yeah.
to watch.
That's a hard watch, man. Go back and watch that video. It's a hard watch, dude.
Mm-hmm.
And like I'm like I identify with this. Like and that's where like that started. Like all these misfits and shit like that. And it got to the point like when I was in high school, like me and my friends were about to get arrested. Say it's the three of us. Like you have good grades. You're a varsity athlete. You have good grades. You have a varsity athlete.
Oh, you took charges. I forgot about that.
I took
you
the
dumbass.
fucking charge. Like literally, because I had such little perception of myself, and I saw my friends as like, you guys are going places. I'm going nowhere.
You're going to college.
I was like, you guys are going to college, and you're on a good track. This is gonna fuck you up. So when the cops were like, "Who's the shit?" I was like, "Everything's mine," and they were like, "Really?" I was like, they didn't have anything to do with it. It's all mine. And they were like, "Are you sure?"
You're a good friend, but like it's dumb though.
It's really and the shitty part is those dudes like turned out to be total dick faces.
They didn't take. Yeah,
they like there was no like appreciation for like, oh, David fell on that grenade for us. Like that was.
It's like,
really
oh, someone else will fix my problems.
Yeah, like, and those two dudes just turned out to be total shitbags anyway. So like it is what it is. But yeah, at the time I had such low sense of self that I was willing to like go to jail for people because
Can I put a hot take out there for you, David?
Yeah.
Just to build your self-esteem a
Okay.
little bit. You should go back to school.
I should.
You should.
Yeah, I know. It's
It's
a monetary
not-
thing.
it is
it's
not
a
a,
monetary thing right now. I know.
You can get around that, but
I
like,
know.
You should.
It's on the docket. We're trying to finish up Kristen's school first.
Yeah.
We're trying to finish her up. So
But you
So
should.
then, yes.
You should. You should.
Thank you. But yeah, like, and then because I think that's like that's the core of like somebody who has a high sense of self isn't sticking a needle in their arm. They're not.
Well, that's not necessarily true.
Most of the
I
time.
mean, we can talk about me in a second, you know.
Well, we certainly will, but that's a level of narcissism. That's a totally different mental issue. But I mean, on some level, Eric, though, like you can't really like totally say, "Oh, I love myself," but I'm jamming a needle in my arm, or I'm hot railing.
No, but
meth.
you can think highly of yourself.
Yes,
So,
but
like,
it's
you can
misguided,
have,
or
like-
skewed.
for false reasons.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I don't know about false, but just like
not false. I
delusional
mean, like, you can,
reasons.
Skewed.
It's not even delusional. Like,
It's
you can
it's
be
skewed thinking.
You can be good at stuff and still hate yourself,
Yeah.
I mean, Kurt
You know.
Cobain was good at playing music.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you can like negative thoughts, like, and they perpetuate on each other, right? Like, so
They build
I
up.
mean, I just
Oh
went
yeah, it spirals down
through
very fast.
a very depressive episode like recently, and like that's just a spiral, right? But I'm still like, even though I'm like I hate myself, and like, you know, I contemplate. Even though I contemplate suicide like all the time, so I don't know why people don't contemplate suicide. It's an option.
Shit, I did when I was
know?
10.
Yeah, it's an option.
So
It's always an option.
It's changed since becoming a dad.
Well, that's different.
It has
That's
changed since becoming a
different.
dad.
That's different. Yeah.
Yeah,
I can't-
but before that,
well, even becoming a fur dad,
Better for
that
animals.
fucked me.
that's
Really, my cats are my
No.
first
It's-
recovery animals.
I
I got
agree.
them when I first, like when you were asking, when we did the other episode, I got that. I was 20 when I went to my first meeting, and I got my cats when I was like 21, and they were like my, you know,
your reason,
they are my reason
Yeah.
to not kill myself.
which was why I'm surprised you took so long to get a pet.
I don't
Well,
know.
you love pets.
Yeah, I love other.
You
I
let
love
you let
pets.
my dog lick your mouth.
I
Like
hate that.
I don't mind. I'll let any
You know?
dog lick,
I hate
lick
that.
my face.
I do not,
Okay.
dude. That is where I'm sorry. I love dogs. Face licks don't happen with me. I hate it.
I did go
I've
over
hated it my whole life.
I saw my friend last night, and I went over his house, and I saw his two dogs. I just let them lick me all over. I was just like, "Come here, boys." And
It's
I
like
just
whenever
laid
I
on
you
the
can lick my
ground.
legs, my arms, my chest. No, do
I just
not
laid on the
lick my
ground, and I was
fucking
like,
face.
"Puppies, come to
Don't
me."
lick my
You ought to
face.
you ought to wrestle Carly's dog then.
Oh man,
my God.
I love dogs, dude.
God.
Yeah, Tucker's my favorite thing to. I love
Tucker's
wrestling with
amazing.
Tucker.
Tucker is amazing. Carly, we miss you. We're sorry
But-
you're babysitting this morning. Couldn't be here. But Tucker's amazing. Ripken is more than a goddamn handful.
That's a
So-
good name.
Great name for a dog.
So, back to the whole perpetuating negative thoughts as a preteen.
Because yours is different.
It took me until I was 17 to drink the first time. And
I
so
was 16.
Your like your case is actually
He's young.
Your case, like I'm your
case.
fucking like I'm your therapist.
yeah.
But like, dude, like it's very interesting. It has always been very interesting to me because, like, yeah, you talk about two very loving parents, and like Donnie, I fucking know you. You're an amazing person, and whenever you set your mind to things, you
believe
accomplish
that.
them.
I believe that today.
So the fact that you had those feelings is very like has always been interesting.
Well,
to
yeah,
me.
because the outward negativity became negative and
internal. Yeah, it became the internal narrative.
Yeah, so I sought escape for years before finding drugs and alcohol. So like I'd come home from school and I'd watch TV until I went to bed.
Yep.
Or I'd play video games until I went to bed.
I love video games.
I do too, and I wish I could get back into them.
I know,
but
it's
I find
so
it
hard, dude.
But like,
I don't have the time.
But like, yeah, that was my escape. Like, I did not like my reality. My parents were split, still trying to navigate that whole thing. I got people making fun of me at school. You know, I had friends. You know, I had friends, and you know, that was my escape. And I didn't think to go to that route until I was 17, because me just wanting to feel a part of something for so long, you know, and I didn't have interest in it. And they were always talking about the party over the weekend and this and that. And I was like, you know what? I think I'll give it a try. So I got friends. We got together, drank, got pissed drunk, threw up, and just this and that. And that first time I was like, I can distinctly, I've forgotten a lot of things. You know, one thing I can distinctly remember is just sitting at this table that first night I ever got drunk, like had already thrown up, feeling like shit. I'm like, I hate this. Like this,
Really?
I'm never doing this again. Like,
See,
like that's the way I
you
felt.
drank a lot then. I did not drink a lot my first time.
I
first
did.
time
I
I
was like,
drank
I gotta figure this out because this situation isn't gonna work for me. But like an hour ago when it was dope, I'm about that.
Oh, that was awesome.
Yes,
at first,
exactly.
Because that was always a common theme whenever I drank. It's like, here's the line,
That's
and
using.
I'm just bam, sprinting past that.
Oh yeah. Like I would hover around the line for a little bit, and I'd be like, "Well, the alcohol is going out of my system now, and so is the weed, and so I gotta put more on top of this."
Yeah,
So I would like hover, like I would get there quick, and I'd be like, "All right, I feel good," but I'm like, "Well, these beers are gonna wear off in like a half hour, so I gotta double this down. So I gotta put
That's
more
such
beer
like
in."
binge drinking high school thinking.
Oh, I know.
know?
Dude. The 90s, when you really look back at it, was so toxic.
Well, that's the 2000s. For us.
Well, I mean, but we were raised on like, yes, it was the 2000s, but like we were very much raised in like the same
We're field party
type of
kids.
mindset
We're
of
all,
the 90s.
We're all like
Yeah, I
the
went to
field
some
party
field parties.
kids.
we're watching American Pie and stuff like that.
Even though was it you who like was like your field parties were at high school? What do you mean? Or like the school? Like our field parties were at schools.
No, yours were in like parking lots in schools.
Yeah.
Mine were in legit cornfields.
No, ours was like in. You want to go to the elementary school and play dodgeball and get fucked up?
Did you have field parties?
I'm not when I was after the fact.
Oh,
when I was
okay.
in college. And
Oh,
stuff.
You didn't have them in high school.
No, we had
I
legit
didn't go
like
to parties in high school.
bonfire
Yeah.
and field parties in like
We
Western
had
Allen
bonfires
County.
in the woods and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, those were our field
I
parties.
didn't feel like I felt so low of myself that like I didn't belong there.
Real quick, did any of you ever have the moment when you were at a party and like you had like kind of like an out of body experience where like you're just like sitting on a couch alone and like everybody's
Everybody else is
mingling
moving?
around,
Yeah.
everybody else is moving, and you just feel so alone.
Oh yeah. I feel that way today sometimes.
Oh my
It was very
God.
much in high school and sometimes in college, early college, when I had that feeling.
Dude,
but
I
after
can-
a while, that feeling went away.
Ooh, it's like the scene from
Oh yeah, well once
Like,
the drugs got
once you're-
better.
it's like the scene from Garden State when Zach
Yep,
Braff is just sitting
that
on the
is the
couch
scene from
and it's
Garden
all
State,
happening
yeah.
around him.
Yeah, and like, dude, I remember. Yeah, it was a party at Eric's house, and like everybody's. My friend Eric,
Yeah.
not your house.
Not my house. No, not my house.
Yeah, not his house.
I did have an epic.
He wasn't.
rave
He was a
once.
rich though. He was another rich.
He was another
Yeah,
rich.
yeah.
Yes. Apologies again, David. From us.
Thank you.
From us of the rich.
From much of the rich. Good. I've been waiting so long for this validation.
You just gotta stop shitting in our golf holes, okay?
Yeah, stop shitting
Dude,
on our croquet courses.
I found a video of that. Somebody else did it, and I sent it to.
Yeah, you sent it to me.
Did I send it to you?
You sent it to
Some
me. And you were like,
famous
someone.
I was like, somebody gets
someone
it.
gets me.
It wasn't just me. I sent it to Allie
You
and
did
Carly
that?
too. I shit in people's golf holes.
That's
yeah.
that's
I
pretty
shat in
cool.
golf holes.
Did you do it?
No,
at,
it's not cool.
Did you do it at Hobbit's Glen?
Yes.
That's where I like played tennis when
Absolutely.
I was like in like
Absolutely.
middle school and
Yep.
stuff.
Hobbit's
Yeah.
Glen was the fucking.
Yes.
That was the target.
I was driving past it the other day. I was like,
Yeah, 'cause-
I bet David shit in that. In his
Well, we
golf
were the
holes.
poor. We were the poor school in the county.
still are.
Oakland Mill still is the poorest county high school in the county.
And compared to the other schools, it's like
River
what
Hill-
a
River-
fucking like.
yeah, River Hill is a national.
You talk
blue
about
ribbon fucking
negative
school.
thoughts. You guys
Yeah.
are just like, are we good enough?
Yeah.
we're not good enough.
But we were going out to these fucking parties in Clarksville where these people are in literal mansions.
I love the River Hill parties.
Dude, and they were fucking sick.
Yeah.
And that was like, oh, we have cocaine. It's like,
I know.
That's not my experience.
we don't even see
My
that
experience
shit.
was going to my friend's house and playing like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater all night. Like that's what we
the
did.
end of
Yeah.
high school was going to River Hill
yeah,
parties and trying
and
Your-
then-
yours
so
just
very
seems like
similar.
endless fucking bong rips.
Not even that.
And
I didn't even use that.
Oh no! But I mean, like probably like early college.
Oh
shit
yeah,
like that.
when we first started smoking weed, like it was always just a tight group.
Mm-hmm.
But then we would go out and mingle other ways.
Yeah.
But it was like we had a hill. There's a hill that you can get to from UMBC. You can walk there.
Oh yeah.
And that's where we would go all the time. And when our early days of smoking weed,
Yeah.
we'd all stand in a circle, pack it up, pass it
Go to a
around.
hill.
Yeah, there was just a hill. You
Huh.
can get to it still. I think it's kind of blocked off.
I love how slick we thought we were back in
yeah.
the day.
Oh, but
and then
not slick at all.
no,
slick at all.
not slick at all. Because you see kids doing it nowadays, and you're like, "That's a drug." My wife is completely oblivious. I was like, "Oh, that's a drug deal," and she's like, "What?"
Oh well,
I'm
drug deals are super easy. One time
like, super easy to spot.
One time there was a car accident that happened right in front of me, and there was a normie sitting in the car with me, like for work, and like one of the people in the car had a backpack, got out of the car, jumped into another car and dipped, and she was like, that person probably had to go to school. And I was
Right.
like, no, that person had drugs and is getting the fuck out of there. Like, like, what do you mean they had to go to school?
Yeah, what
Like,
the fuck? Yeah, they're not late for a midterm.
but maybe they
dummy.
were. Maybe they were. Maybe I'm the one thinking poorly.
No,
you know,
fuck them. Yeah, it's your negative.
It's
thoughts.
my negative
It's
thoughts.
your negative thoughts.
Yeah.
Or just you just default to the.
I
to the
default
worst.
to the worst thing.
And
yeah.
and yeah, again, like shit just spiraled to the point where, like, in my 20s, when I'm dealing drugs, and this is one of the most insane stories to me. I was doing a drug deal. It was at like noon, bright as shit, middle of the day, at Barnes and Noble up here at Longgate, meeting with this kid. Fucking
coffee, like
yeah, like, well, I was going to actually like buy a book. I was like, I'm going to be over at Barnes and Noble. Come meet me there. And the kid wanted to buy like a QP, whatever. And I was
Wow.
like, okay,
That's
cool.
a big deal.
That's a big deal.
It was a
Yeah.
big deal. It was
At the time,
Yeah, it was a
too,
big
yeah.
move. I was
Was it like $200 or something?
No,
Oh,
way
no,
more
it
than
was
that.
way more than that.
That's
It
like
was-
800.
Yeah, it
Oh,
was like
wow.
it was
Yeah.
close to a grand.
Thinking of a quarter. Even that's not.
Yeah, no, it was a quarter pound. And he gets in the Pontiac Vibe, and he fucking points a gun at me. I was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And he was like, "Give me all your shit." And I was like, "Fuck you!"
You're
no.
robbing me in the
Yeah, I
Barnes
was
and
like,
Noble
that is
parking lot
exactly what
of
I said.
Ellicott City.
Of Ellicott City, Maryland. I'm a white kid in Barnes and Noble parking lot at noon, and you're gonna fucking shoot me. I was like, go ahead, fucking do it. And like that's just how insane and,
Yeah.
and like I felt nothing. I was like, I'm
there
being held.
was situations when you're younger where you think about it, like because
was
I had
like,
a
that
gun
dude-
pointed at me
I was
once.
like, that dude get a shot.
Yeah.
Dude, that was like the 5th time I had a gun pointed at me. The first 4 times, totally froze up and pissed myself.
Well,
Not-
you
not
were a
literally
little
pissed
bit
myself.
like more
Maybe you're hardened more
like
at that
yeah,
point.
you wanted that a little bit, right?
Well, I called his bluff because
Yeah.
I knew this kid from high school and he was a total pussy, and there's probably no bullets in the gun anyway.
It's probably a fucking like BB gun.
I don't know, but I was like, get the fuck out of here. I was like, you're not gonna fucking shoot me. And then and he was like, oh, I'll do it. I'll do it. And I was like, no, you won't. And
Over weed,
I
too,
grabbed my
know?
cash. I grabbed the fucking QP. I was like, I'm going to buy a book. Fuck you. And I was like, if you're gonna fucking shoot me, go ahead and do it. And
In
like,
the store. Do it in the store.
Yeah, dude.
And so yeah, I left my fucking car, and I don't know. I think he stole all the quarters out of my fucking ashtray. He was like, "Oh, I'm getting something
take
out of this."
this.
Fucking dick.
I'm gonna go buy a candy bar.
Yeah.
Now
so,
cigarettes. That's why I always bought with
Yeah.
change.
I bought weed with rolls of quarters.
yeah, but like I had such a low sense of self that like I was taking charges. I was telling people to shoot me. Like I didn't give a fuck. I was with women who abused the shit out of me.
Yeah, fuck
Like,
you, bitch.
Yeah. Like
You're dangerous.
Yeah. I had you smashed a lamp.
She probably was.
She smashed
really,
a lamp over my head.
Probably great sex though.
Oh, it was amazing.
Like probably great.
was great.
That's some of that angry stuff.
Oh, it was just yeah.
She was probably
Choker.
she was probably very dominant too, which is great.
I
You didn't have to do a thing.
don't kink shame me.
Did she? Hey, no, auto asphyxiation. You know, I'm right there with you.
But like,
We do need to emulate a conversation we had. You, me, Like, do you remember the sex conversation we had on the back of Brad and Kim's house that
Absolutely,
one night? And it was you, me, and Kim.
Dude, it got
talking.
so
It got so
raunchy.
dark
Got
and
so dark.
raunchy
And I think Brad came out at one point, like, sat and smoked a cigarette and was just like, I'm out. He was
Yeah,
like,
he was like, I
handle
can't
this
talk
conversation.
about this. Like,
fucking
like,
nuts.
because then Matt took it to a whole nother level
Oh,
when it
God.
was like talking about rape
The
play
rape fantasy.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
like, oh my God. Anyway, we've derailed.
So
We've derailed.
let's digress.
Yeah.
Regress here.
Yeah.
The first time I ever smoked weed and got properly high off of smoking weed is
Properly
something
high.
I was, because the first few times I didn't feel a thing, which is
I didn't know
normal
how to
sometimes.
inhale.
I got
Yeah.
super high.
Yeah,
But, like,
but you knew how
I
to
was a
inhale.
cigarette kid.
Yeah.
The first time that I will, that's another thing I'll never forget. I said I've forgotten a lot of things. The first time I got drunk, the first time I got really fucking high on weed, like that, all that negativity was gone. It was gone.
Yeah.
I was good. Felt good about myself. I was laughing, everything. It was like, well, shit, this is my thing now. This is what I'm doing now.
Yep.
And that became the mission for the next however many years.
Yeah.
Like, that was the goal. Like, fuck school, fuck family. You know, if I would go to my cousin's house, and the only reason I would be excited to go is because I knew my cousin was going to
Were you an 8-year college person?
I was a 7-year college
7-year.
person, full time for 7 years.
Yeah, because you went.
usually call them doctors.
Right.
Well, yeah. Well, but you did. You like almost
that.
got a degree, and then you
I
switched
never
majors,
stopped.
right?
For 3.5 years,
I thought you were a bio.
I was a chemistry major.
Chem. Oh,
Yeah,
you
I did
saw,
not
yeah.
make it that
so
far.
you were like, I'm really into this drug thing.
Well, not even that. Like,
right.
So the only reason I chose chemistry is because I took
Success
AP Chem in high school, and I got a 4 on the AP exam, and I thought it was really cool. So I was like, let's keep going with it, and it was good. I was doing all right, and then when I again took till the second year to start smoking weed and like playing World of Warcraft and stuff like that,
Wow.
and that all was like, fuck
Yeah.
that stuff.
Let's talk about a real addiction there. Wow.
Yeah,
No, that's gonna be a
the
different-
first
that'll
night.
be its
'cause,
own
look,
episode.
again, this is another thing. All of the friends I hung out with, they played WoW. That's all they talked about, and I had nothing to contribute. I did not know what they were talking about, and I was like, fine, let me try it.
It's a
Let me
great
try
game.
drinking. Let me try WoW. The first night, I'm like, well, I'm hooked. This is it.
Do you have an inferiority complex?
Yeah,
I do.
yeah,
I do.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
yeah. Look,
I absolutely do.
I don't.
100% I do. So one of my goals in life, because of like my inferiority complex, is I'm very much a jack of all trades in conversationally. Like, I will learn.
You are conversationally.
I will learn enough about a shit ton of things to never be an expert
But you're
in
not
any of them.
applying it like me, where it's
No.
like I'm learning actual skills.
No.
You're
But
learning
in a
facts.
social situation, if like you want to talk about like the cyclical universe
Yeah.
theory and like some quantum mechanics, like
yeah. You got a little bit of everything in
I'll
there.
read enough to be able to have that conversation. And it's like, well, what about like sharks? Oh shit, I know tons about sharks.
yeah, they
And
haven't changed since prehistoric times.
so because I had a terrible inferiority and anxiety fear of being left out of conversations, because I did not want to, like, because I'd see those people and they're just and I was like, I didn't want to be that. And so yeah, I my negative like thinking of like, I have to be as good as everybody around me, at least appearance wise.
yeah,
And so
Yeah.
I would still
very
still
weird.
go after
Yeah.
that.
I can make that.
I still have an
relation.
inferiority complex.
Me too, because I spent years back to middle school, like with that whole like negative self-talk and stuff.
I still
spent
do
years.
that,
I spent years
yeah.
wishing I could be anyone else. Like, I felt like damaged goods, like defective material, like left like overlooked. You know?
Yeah.
I wanted to be 6 feet tall.
Well, yeah, we can talk about the height thing.
Oh my god.
The height thing's a totally different.
All the
game.
men in my
Yeah.
family are over 6 feet tall, and I'm fucking 5'9".
My mom's side is over 6 feet, and I
Yeah.
got my dad's. I was like, you fucking asshole.
Yeah, and like my brother's 6'6".
I'm
and
5'11"
Yeah,
and a half.
my grandfather's 6'3". My dad was 6'1.5", almost 6'2". Like my great uncle was 6 foot, and like all growing up, I thought like, yeah, I'm gonna be
I'm gonna be
6'5".
tall.
I'm gonna be big.
It's
strapping
a bummer
dude.
for sports.
And
like,
then
you
and then
know.
you get into
Certain
high
sports,
school
yeah.
and you realize like you're like waiting for that last jump, and it never comes. That last jump, and it never comes. And I was like, fuck.
When I became taller than my brother, it was okay.
Because you're right around 6 foot, right?
I'm like 5'11" and a half.
Yeah, you're right around.
I'm wearing shoes most of the time, so I'm 6 feet.
There's this one joke I think it's Paul Rudd who said it on like a talk show. He was like, if there was one thing he wanted, he was like, I'd rather be 6'3" than 6'2". And he was like, are you 6'2"? He's like, no, I'm 5'11". And they're like, then why that? And he was like, I don't know, 6'3" just sounds better.
Yeah, it does sound better. It does sound better.
I have a friend from high school.
But just the fact that he chose two of the numbers that he isn't even related to.
I have a friend in high school he's 6'8". Like
that's too big.
He's a tall,
too
big
man.
See,
I'd rather
6'6" is just about.
I'd rather be myself than be that tall.
Yeah.
Like, and I got like for being bullied.
Yes. Now.
The only thing I was ever bullied on. Well, people try to bully you for money, but I'm like 5'6".
You're 5'6".
Yeah.
So now, without the surgeries,
I would have been 5'2".
Wow.
That's how tall Angus Young is, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people like I think what's his Martin what's his name
Well, shit, Danny
Michael Fox is 5'4".
Well, Danny DeVito is
Kevin
like
Hart's
4'11".
Kevin 5'2". I think he's 5'2".
Kevin Hart's very teeny.
Yeah.
And
so
Danny DeVito's like 4'11", isn't he?
Yes.
but it's weird with this. Like, I don't give a shit about that anymore. And
No,
I'd rather
not
be
anymore.
my height
Yes.
than be tall, because tall people have it rough.
But I
dude.
mean,
You
yeah,
know,
they
like,
go
they
hooky
have it
joints and
real
stuff.
rough.
Yeah.
Like, can you think about being on a plane and being 6'8"
Yeah.
and being on Southwest? Fuck that.
Can you imagine
spirit.
being 6'8" and
Yeah,
having an
well,
average sized penis?
Oh, that would be
That guy
rough,
gotta have a
dude.
miserable
That would
life.
be rough.
It sucks so bad.
Like,
Some girls like, oh, he's huge. Oh,
So if you're 6'8", then you need to have a.
I
you gotta have a
realize-
proportionally
so-
6'8" penis.
but the proportional, like,
a 6 inch,
that I don't
6.8
think that
inches.
matters though. Like how tall you are, because I've definitely had.
No, it doesn't.
I've had a bunch of like girls who'd be like, "Oh, well, you're bigger than I would have thought."
Oh,
For your height,
Eric's hitting
you know?
Eric's hitting full kneecap. Like, it's ridiculous.
You've
Anyway.
seen some of the some of the girls I
so-
brought in. So
But yeah, dude, like negative thoughts, it's not just necessarily social. It's a lot of things.
Well,
I know body dysmorphia is a
bad
huge thing.
Body dysmorphia,
Exactly. So it's not just
So I
necessarily.
hate myself for that. Like, and I tell myself that every day. And that's why I pick too.
I have low grade like
Body dysmorphia?
Yeah, I never feel
I
like my
can't
body.
see
And I'm in good
myself
enough-
I mean,
as
I'm
I
not in bad
am.
shape.
So I think I'm
That-
fat.
You think you're fat?
Yes.
I mean, you're not.
always.
Oh my god.
Always.
See, I feel like I'm skinny.
I think I'm fat.
I always think I'm too.
I could be
scrawny.
140 pounds. I still think I'm like huge.
Yeah.
And I can't see it. I can't like see that I have like
I
abs or anything.
want Ryan Reynolds' body so bad.
Well, I want all of their bodies.
Yeah.
Like that, like chiseled
I would
kind of look.
I would really like a Tom Hardy because he's not overly cut, but he's still jacked. Tom Hardy
is
would be
he?
nice. Oh yeah, Tom Hardy's a beefy dude.
I just think of him from Peaky Blinders as like, and I'm like, he kind of looks.
But look at him at like
yeah.
Bane. Bane, he's not cut, but he's swole.
I want lean. I want lean. I don't want to be.
I would
big.
know what you
prefer,
want,
but
yeah.
I'm saying I'm settling for Tom Hardy.
So what you want, Eric, then is what everybody says when they say they want a particular body is Brad Pitt from Fight Club.
Brad Pitt from Fight Club. Yeah, that's what everybody wants.
Brad Pitt from Fight Club.
What song is
But
that?
my
Oh, yeah,
fucking
that's
upper
exactly
body.
what everybody
Creep.
says.
That's
Yep.
Creep from Radiohead.
That's Creep by Ray. Yeah.
My upper body is too bulky, so I'll never get there.
See, I'll have to
So.
go with Captain America, Chris Evans.
Yeah, so, but see,
That's
though,
the
like
one.
that's still a negative thinking sense of self. That
Brad
like,
Pitt,
our bodies are not
Fight
what we
Club,
want them to
dude.
be.
His fucking like V
Oh god, I
going
want that.
down. You
I
know
used
what
to
mean?
have
That
it.
V. I used to have a
I used to
V2
have
when
it.
I was a drug addict.
You know, it's because you starve yourself. Like that's how
Yeah,
you get like
cocaine
that.
is way more.
Well, we are
important than
talking
food.
about intermittent fasting earlier, so
Yeah, and that's
We'll get there. We'll get there, guys.
Structured starving.
structured starving.
They still make ephedrine, right? That's legal. No,
No,
Stacker too.
but you can just
kidding.
find it in the wild.
Yeah.
You know, it
They
is a
take diet
plant.
pills. We'll get diet pills.
It's a plant.
We'll go full rec.
Or just
Yeah,
take your
Sarah
pre-workout.
Goldfarb.
yeah, full rec.
How is pre-workout legal? Like,
I have no idea.
Like,
Some of it is a little much, but
Yeah.
it depends on like the.
it seems like
versions
very
of caffeine.
dangerous too. You know, like
It
giving
can be
people that much
if you-
caffeine,
if you
and then it's
are
like, and
reckless
then
with
work
it.
your heart as much
Yeah.
as you can.
Well, it's
Yeah.
like drinking a Four Loko.
So,
Oh, God.
reeling it back from, I mean, because it's all still relevant
Yeah.
what we're talking about. But so how do we flip the script? How do we change the narrative and start developing?
David.
I mean, yeah.
Yes, I mean true.
Thanks.
So I'd like to share a couple of things from my experience in recovery.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hearing other people's experiences
Yes.
that helped me to kind of realize and start to figure out that like because I share it all the time. All that negative shit, I didn't have evidence for that. That's just stuff I told myself. I had no reason
Some of
to
it
believe
was
it.
externally put on you.
But, but
I'm
the
sure
stuff that it turned into, like that
I'm
was
sure
all...
Dumpster Donnie was like...
I didn't come up with that. That's
No.
goddamn sure.
But that's like later on, you're like, well, I can be dirty because I'm Dumpster Donnie.
If it was funny, I'll be honest, I would totally would have used it against you. But that is so
so lame.
That is so ridiculously mean. I will never say.
But
that
anyway, like
that's horrendous.
Yeah, but like even before all that stuff, and I had that negativity about myself. That was just stuff that I came up with, and that became the truth.
Yeah.
So getting clean and being involved with people in recovery and listening to what they have to say about how they felt the same way, there are two particular experiences that I remember that just kind of ring true. And one of them was the guy, Vince, who started the Catonsville group at his 30th anniversary, which was a big deal in 2011.
That is a big deal.
In 2000, now 30 years. Everyone's got 30 years now. But back then, he was one of the first people to hit that.
That's
30-year
NA.
Yeah,
that's 81.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
So and I don't even remember the context of it, but he said it in such a way that I was like, I believe him. He's like, you are not a loser. He said that in his anniversary. He's like, you're not a loser. I was like, I'm not?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
It's like,
have you met me?
I'm not?
Yeah.
Oh. And then another time was Dottie, if you remember Dottie C. She was sharing a meeting, and again, just the way she said it, I heard it over and over again. But the way she said it, she's like, I didn't get clean to be miserable. You know?
Yeah.
And she just said it with such conviction. In fact, I was like, that's so true. You know? And that just kind of started it to realize, like, I'm not alone.
Yep.
Other people have felt that way. Other people have changed their ways. You know?
Yeah.
And it took a lot of it had to do with being around positive people. You know, because water seeks its own level.
Yep.
If you're hanging around with people that are just like talking shit about themselves and talking shit about other people and just bringing negativity in, it's
now,
just...
don't get me wrong, self-deprecation is still one of my favorite daily pastimes.
I do it every day.
Every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
But to piggyback, are you done?
Yeah, it's fine.
To piggyback off of you, in early recovery, after I had a couple of years, like I really had to start addressing because my self-deprecation had become really bad, and and my first couple of years I was still self-harming, which that's negative thinking and in and of itself.
Well, it's more than
it's the negative thinking that has that is now manifested into physical action and physical harm. So that's another...
We both self-harmed in early recovery.
But I had to do a an exercise, which was kind of a fake it till you make it exercise, where literally every day I would have to look myself in the mirror and like be my own hype man. Like,
do you ever look in the mirror and say, I hate you?
I've done that.
Yeah. I do that. I did that like this week at least once or twice.
Yeah.
No.
I was like, you're ugly, you're fat, I hate you.
Oh. See, I had to do
stupid.
And I had to do the exact opposite of that. I had to and I did it every day for probably a good 2 years. And and I shared about it in meetings, and it actually helped Martin as well, because he had to do it. And it sounds ridiculous, but it does. And I had to look at myself in the mirror and be like, you're enough, man. Like you're the fucking shit. This is the best day of your life. Like you are working harder than you've ever worked before. You're doing better than you've ever done before. And like, you know what? Just keep doing it. You're on the right path. You're not there yet, but you're gonna get there. Keep working. And slowly, because that's how you have to like train yourself. Like literally, I was raised, my dad said to my face all the time, you are a worthless little monster. That's what I was raised with.
So your dad was kind of
he was an
love,
emotional
right?
terrorist.
Yeah.
No, he was an emotional terrorist.
Your dad sounds like a really bad dad.
He is a piece of shit.
Do you know where he is or anything about that?
He's actually not
to him in a long
I have
time,
not talked to him since I was 21. So I've not talked to my dad in 15 years.
Has any of your siblings talked to him?
A couple of them. Yeah. My two older sisters have not. So like they're in the same boat.
What about your younger sister?
My little sister has talked to him a couple times, and my right immediate older sister Sarah has had some conversations with him. But I'm just like, I don't see the fucking point. And even through step work, like with Herb, he's like,
He wasn't at your wedding.
Yeah, he's not at your wedding. Like he didn't even send a card. He knows nothing about you. Doesn't know about his fucking grandson.
That sucks, dude.
He's not a part of your life. Yeah.
Like,
I don't
what?
have. My. He's not gonna have grandparents really. He has my wife's. He has Kristen's parents. Yeah, but that's
not yours. Yeah,
and so yeah, I had to do that sort of fake it till you make it thing. And it changes the narrative, because one of the early things that Herb taught me, and it's one of the most beautiful things I've learned in recovery, is don't believe everything you think.
Yeah,
he was like,
another one.
Your mind is like, we're addicts. Like we came off the assembly line with some wires crossed, some screws loose, whatever. Like we just don't work as we were intended. And on top of social factors and nature versus nurture is going to be a different episode, but certainly all that outside stuff,
we can talk about that. I want to
warps everything, and then we put drugs and alcohol and sex and gaming and gambling and retail therapy on top of it, and it just fucks us up. My mind is not my friend at all.
It'll tell you some shit.
Especially if you're and that's why in our last episode, like with newcomers, like get busy, get busy in recovery, get busy with your networking,
get busy living,
get
busy dying,
because dude, if you're just doing nothing and trying to stay clean and you're alone for 6 hours in a room by yourself, you're gonna be fucking miserable.
You'll be telling yourself a web of lies. Telling stories.
You will be in the Matt S. loneliest room in the world. Clean.
I went to that room.
Clean. Yeah.
And he was like, "Look at this needle, Eric." I'm like, "I'm clean. Why are you showing me
clean?
this?"
That's an amazing needle, though.
Yeah, I saw that room. Did you see that room?
No, I never saw that room.
Yeah, I saw that room.
Where was it again?
It was in the I don't even know. It was like it was in this back room of a restaurant.
Yeah.
And like literally he had this like old tube TV with like one VHS tape of like an Adam Sandler movie or something, and it was like Spanglish or something weird. It was
okay.
And then he had just a bunch of like black, construction bags filled with clothes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I remember he had the dresser, and he was just like, "Look at this needle, it's so big." And I'm just here to hang out, dude. But that's a cool needle. Okay, yeah,
like a hype needle.
A hype needle to shoot up with. Yeah,
nice.
It was the biggest one he'd ever used. He was very excited.
But back to that was
negative thoughts.
Changing the narrative of that, it takes action. Yeah. You actively have to work on it. And another herbism is you build self-esteem by. I love herbisms. Love them.
We should add that to the frequently asked questions portion. The herbisms.
Love them.
Mm-hmm.
You develop self-esteem by doing esteemable acts, and because it truly develops a new level of self-worth when somebody, a newcomer or even your friend like Donnie, comes to me with a problem, and I'm able to actually show up and listen and give my true honest advice and guidance to the best of my ability, gives me a level of self-worth that like I'm worth something.
Yeah, if you were able to help somebody and have a positive impact, that makes you feel good.
Yeah, and or just the fact that somebody asks you to share a meeting, you're like, somebody heard something and they think I'm worthy to give a message of hope to another person is such a level of humility and gravity that I had never had in my life before.
And you mentioned it. I don't know if it was this time or the last one we did, where you go up to somebody and say, "Hey, you're doing a great job." Mm-hmm. If someone told, even today,
and that's part of those esteemable acts.
Damn. Yeah. If someone do that to me or to do it to somebody, either one, it's just like, wow, that goes so far.
And another part of that action was seeking out those good male role models that I had never had in my life. And Herb and Hoppy are very much that for me, because I mean, technically they could be my dads.
Yeah, they could. They're old enough.
Hoppy for sure. Herb would be young.
Is he 50?
He's 53.
Herb could be our dad.
Yeah, but he would still. I would have been
it would have been like 14,
like 17 or 18.
Because he was like 40 when we were.
He's
all
like 53.
In our 20s.
He's 53, I think. So he would have been 17 when he had him. Anyway, it's possible. But how have you sort of changed the script, Eric? How do you deal with negative thoughts?
I don't know if I've changed it very much. I think right now medication is helping.
Hey, that's a big, absolutely.
So,
that's a part of it.
I think
Don't be afraid of the therapist.
That's the, there's lots of therapy right now. There's lots of medications.
You've done EMDR in the past.
I've done EMDR. I just did that on a trauma last week or a couple weeks ago. It's hard, you know.
It is hard,
like,
and it's a lifelong process.
And like when you're told your entire life that you're not good enough, you do believe it, right?
Yeah.
Because like that's like my family did the same thing, similar to yours, where it's just like, oh, you're not good enough for that. Like, oh yeah, like you didn't get good enough grades. You know, you didn't do good enough in this tournament. You didn't do good enough at this sport. So that sticks with you. The hard thing for me is like, I have empirical evidence that I do a lot of awesome things.
Yeah, to the contrary.
So like I have that and I'm like, oh, there's this. And then like I have the other side where I'm just like, nope, I'm a piece of shit. I suck. I'm awful. So it's balancing that.
Yeah.
That's the hard thing. So I think for right now it's meds because
absolutely.
that's what's helping.
Meds and therapy are a huge thing as well.
Yeah. I had to get on antidepressants again.
Yeah. The therapy I did in early recovery was mostly for my like really horrific
Traumas
and night terrors. I mean, especially coming out of jail where I literally just saw somebody get stabbed and like somebody set themselves on fire. Like
someone set themselves like Buddha monk style.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So when I was in Philly, we had to go back down to.
I know about the stabbing. You told me about that.
Yeah. So and like a day later, we had to go down to medical because you have to get a TB shot. And I was like, dude, I was just in HCDC. Like I just got my TB shot. I was like, it's right there. I don't have TB. And they're like, we legally have to give it to you anyway. And then all these alarms start blaring and I'm like, what the fuck? And they're like, sit down. And so me and this other guy who were getting our TB test sit down and they wheel in this fucking guy who had wrapped himself in a blanket and taken a paper clip and put it into the wall socket and set himself on fire. And
by holding onto it long enough to set himself on fire.
It'll set fire real quick. He like wrapped it around the blanket and it caught fire. And so they wheeled this crispy fucking smoking body right past us. And I was like, what? And he was screaming and the smell. Oh my God. It was horrendous.
What was his goal?
I don't know.
To die, probably?
Well, but like if you wrap yourself in a blanket, those rooms are fucking brick, dude. Like concrete. Like
he was burned.
You're just gonna fuck yourself up real bad.
He was dead?
I don't know. He was screaming in pain.
Oh, then he was alive.
He was alive when he was being wheeled past
us.
And
the person who got stabbed, like, did that person?
I have no idea what happened to him. Oh, he got stabbed a handful of fucking times right in the stomach. But that's his stomach
with a shiv.
Yeah,
like a small shiv.
He didn't have his like throat slit or anything. Yeah. But that
depends on where you get hit in the stomach.
That's
that can
true.
be real bad.
I don't know what happened to those two.
Organs,
but that's. I mean, that's not necessarily negative thinking, but
that's a negative thing.
It's a negative thing. It's a trauma that I had to deal with, and like, how do I stop waking up screaming with 6 months, 8 months, 9 months clean, dude? Because it took me like a year and a half, dude. I had jail dreams where like it would be so vivid that I thought I was still in jail.
That's scary,
and it like. It was horrifying.
So to all those kids who think you can't be scared straight, David's here.
Oh,
David's here to tell you.
Yeah, because you don't. I didn't want that in my life anymore. Mm-hmm. Like I was like, I was like,
it wasn't fun and games at Howard County.
No, I was not watching the Ravens Steelers game on a flat screen in Howard County anymore. Like I was eating Rottweiler.
The central booking equivalent of Philly.
Yeah, I didn't in the week I was in Philly, I was on 22 and 2 and there were no windows in the jail, so I didn't see the light of day for over a week.
Damn, it developed rickets.
It's unbelievable. It like the amount of like psychological torture. I'm like, no wonder people can't get better.
Well, no wonder they get institutionalized.
Well, they don't get jails like.
And I was like, a week is enough. I was like, I was like, I'm never coming back here. But yeah, the negative thinking takes a lot of fucking work. A lot of work, and then, like it still happens today.
I get. Just being able to know the fact, like you said, don't believe everything you think, because my first thought usually, and I'm pretty sure it's common for all of us, my first thought in a situation is usually bad.
Usually sucks. Yep.
And then it's just a matter of getting to just thinking through it, analyzing it, getting to the point where it's just like, oh, that's not right. That's not the right thing to think. Mm-hmm. And usually first thought is always going to be bad, the disease thinking. Then getting the recovery thought as close to the second thought as possible.
Yeah, as getting that the positive voice to follow up as fast as possible. That's the goal.
Yes, it won't be first.
That's the goal.
I mean, sometimes it'll be first,
but like
other times it'll take a little while.
And shit, dude, I had an inferiority, and I've told you about this. I had an inferiority complex with you in recovery.
Oh. With Donnie?
Yes.
Why?
Because Donnie has always, at least appeared in my mind's eye, that he's had everything put together, and like he's doing well, and like he's I don't know. It was just like an air about Donnie that like he has it figured out, and he's happy, and he's doing these things.
You can't tell, but I'm grimacing at that thought.
No, I know, and Mr. Bones.
Yeah, and I would see Donnie, and I would just be like, God, that guy's just like so peaceful and serene.
Very uncomfortable.
And that was for years, and then like we started getting closer after a while, and like you start sharing with me like your insecurities and your inadequacies and things that are going wrong in your life.
Donnie did have a couple more years than all of us. So
yes, but I mean, like it, and everybody loves Donnie, and I was just, and I am not loved by everybody. I'm not. And
more so now than before, though. You're
yes.
Not
yeah.
God, when Zach was
here. You dick tapping everybody.
When Zach was here, it was bad. It was bad. It was like, it's better that, Zach, I love you, but it's better that you're not.
Oh my God.
Because it was just like, we're just mean.
I was mean.
Like, we're just mean.
The Zach quote of, hey, I'm doing this amazing thing. That sounds terrible.
That sounds terrible.
It's like, oh. I'm so excited about this.
I could literally.
That sounds terrible.
He was literally like going up to people and just popping their balloons.
Yeah.
That's exactly what. And I thought it was hilarious. And
it was hilarious.
And I was doing it was
when
hilarious.
we were like very toxic.
The three of
people.
us were so bad.
It was so bad. We like made people like
years
literally
2,
not
3,
like us.
Yeah, we were, and it took
almost
a while.
like you were trying for that.
We were kind of like
I
remember we did talking about negative things. I guess is like we did this like equivalent of equating people to Star Wars characters in like the meanest way. That person's Jabba the Hutt. That person's fucking what's his name? Is it Guido from the first?
Yeah, Guido.
Yeah,
Guido, yeah.
And it's like you mean that flying like
fly person?
Yeah,
it was just, hurt people, and that's what it was. But yeah, I had this, theory of the glory of Donnie, and then he's sharing his inadequacies and insecurities, and like, oh, I'm having girl problems, and I'm like, man, I'm fucking everything under the sun, whatever. Like, how are you having problems? And then,
but because I got no game.
I don't know, but it like demystified you, like you did it yourself, and I was like, oh, Donnie's, he's a human, and he doesn't have it all figured out, and I'm like, okay, you're doing okay.
Yeah, nobody has it all figured out.
Yeah,
may have it more so than others, but that's just a matter of like we learn off of others' experiences. We learn how to get it all together from other people who have certain things together that we don't, and people can learn from us about things that we have together that they don't. And so we can all. That's one of the things that I talk about a lot, either at my anniversaries or when I share, is just like how important it is that we all like know each other. That how important the fellowship is because we share our experiences, and that's when we go through something. Like when I went through my dad dying, I gravitated towards the people who had that experience, like Carly, like Jack, and people who had lost parents. And it's like how are you feeling like this? Are you feeling this? Like, this is how I'm feeling. Did you go through that? And this and that? And I made it through. And now I have that experience to share with others, which I have been able to share with people, and that's the beauty of it, is like, that's how we learn how to get through these scenarios that we maybe think we can't get through clean, but we know that other people have. Yeah. So we are many and varied. And that's the beauty of it all, is that we have our experiences we share, just to learn how to stay clean through those things. Yeah, and it is an actual beautiful part about the fellowship, is like we can be unique in ourselves, but in the way we feel and our experiences, we're not unique, and we're very similar. And
we all have those negative thoughts. We all have those insecurities and body dysmorphias and I'm not good enough, I'm different, everybody's better than me, I'm inferior. Like, we all have that. And so everybody out there, any newcomer, anybody who's listening, that like, or even in recovery, like, oh, like this person has less time than me, but they seem more recovered than I am. And it's like, it's mind games. Like we subconsciously, our mind is not our friend, and it is fucking with us constantly. So yeah, it is an effort to thwart that. And yeah, get rid of the bad idea bats, as Herb would say.
The bad idea bats. Yeah.
I love the bad idea bats.
The stinking thinking.
The stinking thinking, yeah. The bad idea bats is great. He was like, yeah, man, they're just these shitty bats that just fly out of nowhere and they just start circling around your head. You got to swat them motherfuckers away.
It's the committee.
Yeah, the itty bitty shitty committee.
The itty bitty shitty committee. Like, see, those are some of the cliches that I like. Because yeah, it's stinking thinking. It's the itty bitty shitty committee. It's the fucking bad idea bats. It's all that shit. Bats. Yeah,
they're just kind of hanging out up there.
Yeah, they just flap in out of nowhere and they want to bite you.
Yeah, and you hear people say all the time, like, my disease wants me dead.
Fuck that.
I don't agree with that at all.
No. That's the personification of like your illness. It's
anthropomorphizing
bullshit.
your
bullshit.
actual. Yeah,
whenever people are like, my disease has been doing push-ups today. I'm like, no, it hasn't. You're just fucking with your brain and telling yourself
that there's this demon out in the parking lot.
Because then you don't have any responsibility towards it, and that pisses me off. Because they're like, well, it wasn't me, it was my disease, and it's like, no, it's you, because your disease is you.
Yes, exactly. And
what I meant by that is like, I don't think it wants me physically dead. It wants me like spiritually and emotionally dead. It wants me alone and thinking my own thoughts and running with that shit. And that's how it wants me to be miserable, not like death, not deceased, but just
addiction is isolation and recovery is connection.
Yeah,
it's connection with yourself, it's connection with others, it's connection with whatever sort of emotional or spiritual like path you're on. Like it's a level of connection that you didn't have before. Yeah, and another thing, like, I thought, oh, David has a drug problem. No, David has a David problem. And I use drugs and all these other things to try and cure my shitty emotions and my shitty thinking.
Yeah, that's same thing with me.
Yep. And that's...
Because like I said, when I properly got high that first time, I was like, yeah, that solves the problem.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's the answer.
And then the alcohol stops, the cocaine runs out, the weed wears off, whatever. And it comes flooding back. So you got to do that work of building self-esteem, building esteemable acts, creating a new mental image, and actually just stacking good things in your life that again, like Eric said, counter that narrative of oh, I'm not good enough, I can't do this. But wait, I just did all these. I just did all this. Like, this is awesome. Like, I'm going to an H&I meeting and talking to people. Or I just answered a call from somebody. I'm showing up to fucking work. Yeah. Like, I'm paying my bills on time. Like, clearly, I'm not that piece of shit.
Like, the voice is there. It gets a little quieter. And sometimes you can hear it whispering. You're just like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Shut up. Yeah. You know what you're talking about.
I have actively done that. Like, I'll be driving down the road and just a random thought comes in my head. I'm like, shut the fuck up.
It's like, hey, man, I had a really good day today. And the voice is like, hey, you're an asshole. I was like, good one. Nice one. That's funny.
But I think that's all we got. You got anything else, Eric?
No, I think we're about it. I'm ready to talk about presents again soon. So.
Oh God, no! You gotta shut it. We gotta shut it down before that. Yeah. No full circle on that. But yeah, everybody, love yourself a little bit better today. Yeah. Say something nice about yourself, and do an esteemable act.
Didn't we say it on the last one? Be good to yourself. Because you couldn't do it for a better person.
Absolutely. It applies every single time.
Yeah. And one of the other idioms I live by, it's very simple. Don't be an asshole.
Yeah, don't be an asshole. Don't be an asshole to yourself.
Yeah.
Everybody, thanks for joining us again. Thank you again, Donnie. Fantastic job.
Yeah. And if you are an asshole, bless your heart.
Yeah, God bless you.
God bless you. God bless you. Keep coming back. Keep coming back, bub.
Keep coming back.
Like, share, subscribe, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all Discord, all the things. Yeah. Help us keep the mics on. Join our Patreon. We are self-supporting. And actually look out in the not too distant future. There will be an app
Yep, we're in development
We are
right
creating an app. There's gonna be a podcast recovering.
The future is now.
The future is now. Big stuff. All right, but most importantly, everybody out there,
now. Stay safe and stay clean.